Now we want to update user data in MySQL table. So first, in front-end edit user component, we want to write JavaScript for send edit form data to Node.js backend API. So first, we have goes to edit user component file. And first, we have to write constant handleSubmit equal to an async arrow function with event parameter. So here, we have defined a function to handle the form submission for updating an existing user data. Next we have to write event.prevent default method. So here, we have stopped the default form submission behavior that would reload the page and keeping the app smooth and single page like. After preventing the default action, we have to write set error with an empty string. So here, we have cleared any previous error messages in the user interface, which giving a fresh start for this submission attempt. Then we have to write an if condition, which will checking if any of the required fields are empty. So here, we have validated that name, email, and status are all filled in before sending the request to the backend. Inside the if block, we have to write set error with the required fields message. So here, we have displayed an error in the user interface if any field is missing and alerting the user to complete the form. Next we have to write return statement. Hence here, we have stopped the function early if validation fails, which preventing the API call when required data is missing after checking required fields. Next we have to write an if condition, which using a regex test on user email value. So here, we have validated the email format to ensure it contains characters and @ symbol and a domain with a dot, like valid email format. Inside the email validation block, we have to write set error method with an invalid email message. Thus here, we have shown an error if the email does not match the expected pattern, which will guiding the user to enter a correct email. Next we have to write return statement. So here, we have exited the function early if the email format is invalid and avoiding a failed API call. Next we have to write a try block for the API call. So here, we have started a safe block to handle the user edit data request and catching any errors like network issues or server problems without breaking the app. Inside the try block, we have to write constant token equal to local storage.getItem with token key. So here, we have retrieved the JWT authentication token from browser storage to include in the API request for secure access. After this, we have to write await Axios.put method with 3 arguments. In first argument, we have to write API link for handle edit user form data. In second argument, we have to define form data. So in form data, in first key, we have to write user name, and in value, we have to write user name variable. In second key, we have to write user email, and in value, we have to write user email variable. In third key, we have to write user status, and in value, we have to write user status variable. And in third argument, we have to write headers key, and in value, we have to define authorization token. So here, this code will send edit user API call for send form data from front end to backend. After a successful API call, we have to write navigate function call with /users path. So here, we have redirected the user back to the user management page, where the edited user data will be appear in the DataTables list. Then we have to write a catch block with error parameter. So here, we have caught any errors from the Axios post request, like duplicate email, invalid token, or server issues, to handle them smoothly. Inside the catch block, we have to write set error function with a conditional error message. Thereby here, we have displayed a specific error from the backend, if available, or a generic message for other issues, which showing clear feedback in the user interface. So here, our handleSubmit function is ready for submit form data. Now we want to call this function on form submission event. So here, in form attribute, we have to write on submit event is equal to open and close bracket, and between this, we have to write handleSubmit function. So it will call this function on form submission event and send form data from front end to backend side. So here, our front end code is ready. Now we have goes to backend directory and goes into routes directory. So we have goes into user routes file, and here we want to write backend code for update user data. First we have to write router.put method for the /users /ID path with authenticate token middleware and a validation array. So here, we have created a put endpoint to update a specific user data by its ID, which ensuring that the user is logged in with the authenticate token middleware and validating the input data. Next, inside the validation array, we have to write param validator for ID with is integer method and a custom error message. So here, we have checked that the user ID in the URL is a valid integer, and it will sending an error if it is not, and keep database queries safe. After this, we have to write body validator for user name with trim and not empty methods. Therefore here, we have ensured the user name is not empty and removes extra spaces and showing a clear error if the name is missing. After checking the name, we have to write body validator for user email field with is email method. Thus here, we have verified the email, which follows a valid email format and returning an error if it is invalid and keeping data clean. After this, we have to write body validator for user status with is in method for active or inactive. So here, we have ensured the status is valid, which maintaining consistency in user account states. After following the validation rules, we have to write an async arrow function with request and response parameters. So here, we have defined the main handler for the PUT request and marked as async to handle database operations and password hashing safely. Inside the handler, we have to write constant errors equal to validation result function with request parameter. Thus here, we have collected any errors from the validation checks to see if the input data is correct. Next we have to write an if condition for checking if errors is empty is false. So here, we have checked if there are any validation errors, so we can stop the process if the input is not valid. If errors exist, we have to write return with response.status 400.json containing error messages. So here, we have sent a 400 bad request response with a list of issues like name is required or invalid email format to inform the frontend. After validation, we have to write destructuring assignment to get ID from request.params. So here, we have extracted the user ID from the URL, and it will be ready to use it in the database query. Next we have to write destructuring assignment to get user name, user email and user status from request.body. So here, we have pulled the updated user name, user email and status from the form data sent by the frontend and preparing them for the database update. Then we have to write a try block for database operations. So here, we have started a safe block to handle database queries, which catching errors like connection issues to keep the server running smoothly. Inside the try block, we have to write a query to check for duplicate user email. So here, we have counted rows in the user table where the email matches, but the ID is different, by using a parameterized query to prevent SQL injection and ensure no duplicate user email. After the query, we have to write an if condition for checking if the count is greater than 0. So here, we have checked, if another user already has the same email, so it will preventing duplicate user email in the system. If a duplicate is found, we have to write return statement with response.status409.json method with an error message. So here, we have sent a 409 conflict response to the frontend, which telling it the user email is already taken, and it will stopping the update. Next we have to write an update query to modify the user in the database. So here, we have updated the user name, email, and status in the user table for the given ID by using a parameterized query for security and accuracy. After the update, we have to write an if condition for checking if affected rows is 0. So here, we have checked if no rows were updated, that means the user ID was not found in the database. If no rows were affected, we have to write return statement with response.status404.json method with an error message. So here, we have sent a 404 not found response to the frontend, which indicating the user does not exist, and it will stopping further processing. Next we have to write response.json with a success message. So here, we have sent a JSON response to the frontend for confirming the user data was updated successfully and completing the request. Then we have to write a catch block with error parameter. So here, we have caught any database errors, like connection problems or query failures, so it will handle them without crashing the server. Next we have to write response.status500.json method with a generic error message. So here, we have sent a 500 internal server error response to the frontend with minimal details and keeping the system secure while informing about the failure. So here, our backend code is also ready for update user data in database. Now in Node terminal, first we have restart Node server by run this command. Now in browser, first we have refresh web page, and here we can see single user data in form. Now we have make necessary changes in user name. Then after we have click on update button, so after click on update button, here we can see that user data has been updated, and here in jQuery DataTables, we can see updated user data, and here, we can perform soft delete operation by change user status from active to inactive. So here, our user management module is completed under this React point of sale application. Next we will start product management module.